First of all, I just want to say, Greg, thank you so much for inviting me to Kansas City, Missouri. It's so cool.
Well, I hope you enjoy your visit.
Always have a good time when I'm hanging out with you. I mean, there's no question about it. We eat well, we drink well, and we just have a lot of fun. And certainly it was a pleasure to come out and speak to all your agents again and do our business planning workshop. But I think the reason why I wanted to interview more than anything else and just sort of capture just some of your thoughts and some of your experiences, because I can't believe it that it's actually 8 years actually almost 9 years that we know each other. 8 years working together. First of all, I just want to say thank you for, trusting yourself to me and to what we've been doing, and it's been an interesting ride. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, it's one of the best decisions I ever made was to lock up with you, and you're going to have me for a long time.
Well, I appreciate that, man, and it's been an interesting journey, because I still recall when we first met, and you were at a different place in your life at that time, 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago, right?
Well, it was a far different place, because we were in the middle of the recession.
Yes.
And I had made some business decisions that would have worked fine if the economy had kept going like it was, but as a result of the downturn, I was caught in kind of a squeeze. It wasn't kind of a squeeze, it was a major squeeze. And at that time, not only was the market turning down, but I had built a brand new building, 27,000 square foot.
What year was that again?
Well, we closed on it in '06 and moved into it shortly thereafter, and the economy tanked. And then a couple of months after we moved in, I found out I had been embezzled to the tune of several $100,000.
Yeah.
And by an employee that had been with me for 17 years. She was like a daughter to me.
Oh, man.
But that was a business mistake on my part, so I don't blame anybody but myself in that regard.
So bottom line, you got a huge investment, Albatross, on your shoulders, embezzled hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we're getting close to 2008 or 7-8 when the market absolutely tanked in the United States.
Yes.
Talk about a trifecta of disaster, right? And so I guess, we met, I think it was in 2009. So now you've been slugging this out for the last 2 years or so. Where were you at that point? Do you recall what that felt like and where you were?
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, you don't like admitting this, but we lost our house, lost the building. I had three offices at that time. I gave basically sold 2 of them, and I retained the one. But that's when I came to one of your sessions, or Dennis Curtin, thank God, he had invited you to one of our regional meetings. And I heard you speak, and I just thought at the time, God, this guy makes sense, And I was thinking, I can't afford to hire you.
Yeah.
My other thought was, where I am today, I can't afford not to hire you. And so I took that leap of faith, if you want to call it, and jumped in with both feet. And it's been a good ride for me.
Well, and you know what? And a lot of us have our stories, some more extreme than others. Yours was very extreme. I have had also my stories, and I also understand what happens when you get to a point of almost desperation. I know the same thing happened to me in about the year, I think it was the year 1999. I was about 4 or 5 years into my brokerage, and I had 60 sales associates at the time, and I was not making the profit that I needed to make in order to make it worth my while, right? And what happened to me, I also had a gentleman come into my life who was my profitability coach, if you will, and consultant. And it was one key thing that turned my entire business around. And that one key thing for me was, how much am I earning per realtor? That was sort of that one magic number that he shared with me. Once I had that, it absolutely turned my business around. Now, the only reason I bring that up is because that was the substance of what I was sharing when I was at that retreat.
Exactly.
And it's interesting, you picked up on kind of the same thing that actually triggered me maybe 9 years earlier, which is kind of cool, right? So let's talk about, okay, let's not talk about the past anymore. The past is the past, and yeah, we learned a lot and you've gone through the mill, but let's talk about today, all right?
Yes.
So what do things look like for you today?
Well, I'm in, good financial position today. I only have the one office, and I'm not a large office. I have 45 agents.
Yeah.
But I have 45 productive, profitable agents.
Yes.
That lead me to a healthy bottom line.
Right.
So I see and talk to broker owners that have, 3 times the agents I do, but I also understand they have less profit than I do.
I was having a conversation with someone just recently who had, I think they have over 150 realtors. And I said to him, well, what's more important, how many realtors you have or how much profit you make? He says, well, I guess it's profit. So let me put it into perspective for you. If my good friend Greg here had the same level of profit that most people have, including yourself, he would have to have 273 agents to make the actual amount of profit he's making right now. So what's more important? I think it's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah, and that's what struck me about our relationship, because you've obviously helped me get there. I would not have gotten there without you.
No,
I can honestly say that. So.
I appreciate that, but it's actually a blessing both ways, right? There's something interesting when we talk about profitability and all these other things. You did something, and again, I want you to have ownership of this, because I talked to hundreds of brokers over the last 10 years. One of the things you did, one of the gutsiest things that a lot of people would never do. You actually took a serious look at the bottom line. We did together. We decided that, hey, we need to make some changes pretty quick. And you implemented something that in your marketplace was not commonplace, which would have been a huge risk, right?
Well, if you're, boxed in the corner, I felt like I didn't have an option, and I really, truly didn't, so I did it.
And, okay, so let's preface this a little bit. So what you did was you realized I needed to make a change. And as we always say, until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change, we never change.
Exactly.
Your level of pain in staying the same was so great, it actually made you do something that was painful, but less painful than staying the same. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, but it was, to me, after I thought about it, it was a logical step.
Right. But I want to let you know, a lot of brokers don't have the guts to make the changes necessary in order to help their businesses. And you did that. And the one thing you implemented was a transaction fee, something that's not commonplace in your marketplace. But the one thing I think is the most exciting part for me when I hear you tell that story and know that story is that your agents must have really respected you a lot. Because you had integrity, you said, here's what we need to do. And you tell me if I'm wrong on this, I'm trying to paraphrase it for you. Here's what we need to do, we need to implement this is how it's going to work, here's how much it's going to be, and I need to just stick to this.
Well, the way I approached it is I could see I was going in the wrong direction, and I think it's all in the presentation. Mm-hmm. And back then, you're right, people weren't charging transaction fees. But I went to them and I said, hey guys, this is what's happening. I know your expenses are going up every year. Mine expenses are going up every year. The recession is causing our revenues to go down. So I've got 3 options, We can continue as we are and eventually close the doors, or I can pass the increases along to you, the agent, or we can pass it on to our clients that have been getting the benefit of downward pressure on commissions anyway. Which would you want to do? For sure, they don't want to close the door. They didn't want to close the door. I got a great relationship with my agent.
Yeah.
They didn't want to accept the increases for themselves. So we passed it on to the consumer. Again, they were getting the benefit, the consumer was, a downward pressure on commissions. We used to get 7% on listings on it. Today we get, 6.
Right.
So
So
they accepted it.
they accepted it. So let's talk about bottom line now for a second. How many agents did you lose because of this very, let's call it risky, maneuver of desperation,
Looking back, I want to say 3 agents, and that was because, and I, at the time, we charged on every transaction.
Right.
And I lost 3 agents because they were working with builders, and the builders were not going to pay that. So I implemented a plan. I said, okay, we're going, and this was after I lost the 3.
Yes.
I said, we're going to adjust this because it makes sense. If you've got a builder, a developer, or a client that's purchasing multi-houses from you on an annual basis, we're only going to charge them 1 transaction fee a year. I don't want to penalize the people that are loyal to
Right.
your clients that are loyal to you, and so that's what I've done. And yeah, we charge no more than 1 per side, the buying side and a
Right.
selling side, to a client on an annual basis.
Right.
Still, there's a lot of
So,
transaction fees that come.
right. And I don't think it's, we have to be worried about saying how much that transaction fee is per end. I think it's
$295.
$295. Now, I don't know if anybody knows how to do math, but let's, you have 45 realtors, you're averaging 20 plus transactions per person on average.
Yeah.
That's nearing 1,000 transactions a year, correct?
Yes.
So would it be safe to say that maybe 70 or 80% of those are transaction
For
fee
sure,
related?
yes.
So let's see if I can do the math quickly in my head. That's 800 transactions at $300 a pop. That's $250,000. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? I always say, profit is not a 4-letter word. It's a 6-letter word. And profit is very important for brokers to have. Because isn't it fair to say that because you're profitable, you're able to provide great value and great services to your agents?
Yeah, we've upped our services to the agent. Plus, as importantly, I sleep at night. During that recession, I was not sleeping at night.
Yeah, I know. You know what? It's interesting. We're having a very candid conversation. Obviously, it's not scripted at all. I could actually feel some of the emotion in what you're saying, and actually, it's bringing up some for myself right now as I speak. I feel flush in my face too now, because it's interesting how we go through some real tough times, and sometimes it's those challenges that actually make us do the things that we ought to be doing in the first place, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we learn from our mistakes, and if we can help others avoid the mistakes that,
Right.
I'm an encyclopedia of what not to do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's kind of cool when you said that. It's kind of was what inspired me to start the Profit Center, is because I had a similar experience to you. I had an incredible person in my life that just gave me this aha moment that triggered a strategy. Now, we never even specifically talked about how to do that, but because the insight, and you used a great word, you remember what it was.
Clarity.
Clarity. You had a clarity of your business that you didn't have before, but with that clarity, you came up with that idea of the transaction fee. You executed that, and you actually were reaping the results of it, but it all started with one seed of thought, right?
Well, I didn't originate that thought. There were, I've gone to national meetings, and there were certain areas of the country that were doing that.
However, in your area of the country, Kansas City, Missouri, they weren't doing that.
Yeah, I don't know
That you know of.
in my marketplace.
Yes, in your marketplace, so that was still a very
Yeah.
interesting, or it could have been a risky move to most, right? But what overcame your fear was necessity, and the outcome was
Well, it changed
Success.
my life. That, along with some other
yeah.
suggestions or things I've learned through your tutorship or leadership.
So if you don't mind me just sharing a couple key numbers. We always talk about the most important number of your brokerage is gross profit per realtor. If I'm not mistaken, when we first started working together, it was sitting around 12, 13,000,
11 to 12.
11 to 12 even, okay, so I was being a little bit, generous. 11 to 12,000 gross profit, that's the amount of money that you actually get from desk fees, percentage fees, transaction fees. It was about 11, 12 per realtor.
The revenue.
The actual gross profit, the actual revenue that you get to use to pay for your expenses. I'm very proud to say that out of 600 profit analysis that I've done over the last 10 years, you are well within the top 2% of all the brokerages in that group, and that's a big group of brokerage, a big group of offices, and you're now sitting around 21, 22,000 per person, which is a testament to not only to the strategy and the what you implemented, but also to the quality of the realtors that you have in your organization. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I figured out a long time ago, I'm not going to be the largest office, nor do I want to be.
Right.
But I do want to surround myself with people that are serious about their industry, and I fully believe that our consumers deserve quality professional service, and if they're going to pay whatever they're paying, it should be top notch, and not, we have companies around us that have 400 agents in an office, and half of them are part-time. They work someplace else during normal hours, and the public deserves more than that.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong believer in it.
No, that's awesome. And I just want to, one more time, I just need to state this fact. You're averaging 7 times more net profit per realtor than the average broker. Out of 600 offices, an average profit is $1,370 profit per realtor, which is minuscule. You're 7 times the average. That's 700%. So, like I was mentioning earlier, you're the equivalent of somebody who has 273 agents with the profitability level you're at, which is an incredible feat. It's a testament to you execution, and what's kind of cool too. Let's talk about the fact that let's talk about your lifestyle in the office now. Do you do all that hand holding and nose wiping and all that stuff still, or what's going on there?
No, what I do what I enjoy doing, the rest I've delegated. But yeah, I like to walk the halls. I like to talk to my agents.
Right.
And they all have my mobile number, and I tell them, call me anytime, because if you're out in the field working, you've got questions, call me. That gets my juices going.
Right.
But I don't want to deal with anything else.
Yeah. But let's get to the heart of this. The reason you can do this isn't because you delegated it. The reason you do this is because you had the profitability that allowed you to delegate it, which gives you that ability to do what you just said, isn't it?